Hello everyone, my name is Ivo and welcome to Cooking with the Koyas. Today we are going to make a rustic, artisan style, sun-dried tomato bread. And yes folks, it's easier to make than you think. Let's get started right now. To get that rustic taste, folks, I am going to use a variety of flour, but I want you to know if you don't have this variety of flour, by all means, just use your white flour and you'll still have a fantastic artisan bread. But we're looking for that rustic taste, so that's why I have all these flours. The first flour I have here is just your white flour. Get a high protein white flour. An all-purpose will work if it's higher in protein, or of course if it's a bread flour. But there we have 300 grams of white flour. Now I have here buckwheat. I have 25 grams of buckwheat. We're going to add that. You can see it's a little bit darker in color. I also have 25 grams of whole wheat flour. That's also darker in color. In there it goes. Now, to continue with the rusticness, I have here 50 grams of semolina flour, and as you can see, it's yellow in color. So 50 grams of the semolina. And speaking of 50 grams, I also have here 50 grams of rye flour, and that goes in. So we have a nice colorful blend and a nice mix of different flours in there. So now we're going to add 10 grams of salt. I'm using sea salt here, but any fine salt will do. A regular table salt is perfectly fine. 10 grams of salt. This is optional, but I highly recommend it. It's diastatic malt powder. It's a superfood for yeast. It helps with the rise, helps with the browning, helps with the flavor. So again, I always share with you all the best ingredients, but if you don't have the diastatic malt, you can do without it. It's about a teaspoon, about 3 grams. Okay, so now we're going to mix all these beautiful flours and salt and diastatic malt, mix it all together. There we go. Beautiful. Now, to that, our main ingredient, sun-dried tomato. So I have chopped this sun-dried tomato up into small pieces, and it was oily, so I dried it. You want it, it's okay if it's a little oily, but you want to have it, as dry as possible. So I put the sun-dried tomato right in there. Okay, and now another great ingredient. Look at this beautiful yeast, active sourdough yeast that's been rising. It's got a great rise to it. I'm going to get my scale because we're going to add 200 grams to our flour mixture. Okay, we've got our scale. That goes on. Let's tare the weight. And we're going to add 200 grams of this beautiful sourdough starter. I know what you're thinking, that's a lot of sourdough starter. I like to use a lot of sourdough starter and get the benefit of all that fermented sourdough into my bread. Okay, it's getting up there. 196. Scale is so important, folks. 198, 200. Okay, beautiful. Now this I will have to refeed. No problem. So 200 grams go in, and then we need some water. So I have here 260 grams of just room temp water. In that goes. All right. That, folks, is the start of something very, very tasty. Going to mix everything together. We're going to get everything incorporated and start this dough. So I'm going to get it all mixed, and yes, we're definitely going to get in there with our hands, but you want to get it at least to the point where it's a shaggy dough, and then we're going to pick up all that flour and incorporate everything nicely by hand. Okay, and a firm spatula works great, and now it's time to take this dough and start to mix it by hand. You can see that, I'll show you here, not all the flour has been picked up. There's still some loose flour there. But what we'll do is just with our hands work this dough around and pick up all that loose flour. It's got to all be incorporated into this dough, and it will pick it up. Don't worry, just keep working it. Okay, and once you've got it all picked up, you can begin the pincer method, which is basically squeezing the dough. Take the dough, squeeze it in between your hands, and continue to squeeze, rotate, squeeze, and do this for 1 to 2 minutes. I like to go to the full 2 minutes to make sure that it's nice, smooth, and consistently mixed together. But you can see we've picked up all the flour, right? And all we've got now is our beautiful dough. That's very sticky, and that's how it should be. So give me a couple minutes. And there we go. That's starting to feel good. Our dough is now put together very nicely, and yes, it's going to stick to your hand, but don't worry about that. That's exactly what you want it to do at this point. Now that we have this beautiful dough, all incorporated, put together very, very nicely, quite simply, it's got to rest now. And that sourdough starter is going to rise. You want this to at least double in size. Now here's the thing. In the summer, could be anywhere around 8 hours. In the winter, could be up to 12. So anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. My house is going to be at about 67 degrees. And I'm going to let this sit overnight so that tomorrow morning I can finish making and bake our bread. So at 67 degrees, it'll probably take about 10 hours. We'll see. So anyway, the idea is anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. This will double in size. That's when we can shape it and get it ready for baking. So let's cover it up, and we'll see you in about, let's say 10 hours. We'll check it out, see how we're doing. It's been actually about 10 and a half hours. I was out this morning and just got back, and that's looking mighty fine. Our dough has risen very nicely. It's doubled in size. So what I have here is a bread panettone, and I'm going to put some whole wheat flour and line the inside of this panettone generously with whole wheat flour. You could use regular white flour if you want, but what I found is that the whole wheat flour doesn't absorb like a white flour does, and it actually does a nicer job of not letting your dough stick. So whole wheat flour is what I use to line my Banneton with. So I give it a good coating all around. There we go. Okay, let's put that aside, move my whole wheat. Now let's take our dough. Let's take it out of its container. Look at that beautiful sun-dried tomato dough. Again, a spatula works fantastic for this. Now, if you don't have a container with a lid, you could just use a bowl and just cover your bowl with some plastic wrap. Whatever you have is fine, but these particular containers, I love them. Okay, so there we go. Now our dough is not going to be as sticky as it was yesterday, or 10 and a half hours ago. Okay, so what we're going to do now is shape this bread. Very simply, we're going to do what's called a four-fold. We're going to lift up the one end of the dough, fold it over. You can see it's sticky, but not sticking to my hands. Lift up the other end and fold it over. The other side, fold it over, and this side, fold it over. All right, and now you take your dough. Again, it's sticky, but not really sticking, and shape it into a round. And to do that, the easiest way is to basically just cup your hands around the dough and pull the dough towards you. Turn it, cup it, pull it towards you on a dry surface. And what happens is the dough grips the surface, and as you pull it towards you, it tightens up into a ball. Very simple shaping technique. There we go. We've got a real nice round right there. We put it into our Banneton. A little bit of flour on top. That's it. It's going to rest now. It needs to rest for 2 hours, but at the 1.5 hour mark, we're going to preheat our oven to 475 degrees, and we're going to put an empty Dutch oven in there with a lid. So we'll come back in 1.5 hours, we'll fire up our oven, but this needs to sit for 2 hours for the final proof. Here we are 1.5 hours later, and as I mentioned, we're going to take an empty Dutch oven with lid, and we're going to put that and get it preheated in the oven. And in case you're wondering what size of a Dutch oven this is, it's 4.7 liters. So I've got my oven set at 475 degrees Fahrenheit. That's going to preheat for 30 minutes, and then we're going to start baking. It's now been 30 minutes. Our preheat is done. We will carefully take that Dutch oven out because it is very, very hot. Okay, so lid goes off, and again, in the bone dry, oh, look at that. It's been resting very nicely. You gotta love it. In the bone dry Dutch oven, now we're gonna carefully tilt and place our beautiful dough in the Dutch oven, and then we're gonna score the top. You can score it in any shape that you want. But I have a bread lame here that I'm using. If you don't have a bread lame, you could easily score it with a pair of scissors or a very sharp knife or a razor blade. Okay, so I have scored the top of the dough. Lid goes back on, and now it's going back in that oven again at 475, and it's going to bake for 30 minutes. With the lid on, and that's very important. The lid needs to be on. We ought to create that humid environment for that bread to rise nicely and develop that beautiful crust. So 30 minutes, lid on, and we'll come right back at you. Here we are. It's been 30 minutes. Time to take our lid off. And let's take a look and see how our bread is looking. Oh yeah, it looks nice already, doesn't it? But it's not finished. Okay. We've got to cook now for anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, depending on your oven. So I'm going to let it go 12 minutes. I want to get that nice color. So with the lid on, what happens is you're creating a nice humid environment in there, which allows the bread to rise and develop slowly, which is perfect. But after 30 minutes, that's done its job. Now it's time to remove the lid and let that browning and the crust to develop. Very important. So I'm going to give it 12 minutes. But again, depending on your oven, 10 to 15. Our 12 minutes are now up. Let's shut our oven down and take a look. Oh, look at this bread. Look at this bread. That's what I like. I like my bread just on the cusp of nice darkness there. Okay, very hot. Let's take a look at this. And you see, nothing sticks. You don't have to worry about putting the dough into a bone dry Dutch oven because it's preheated. It's nice and hot and it will not stick. Look at this beautiful sun-dried tomato bread right here, folks. Oh my goodness. And the bottom side, hey, cooked to perfection. What a beautiful, beautiful crust. Okay, so now this, folks, needs to rest. I got to give it at least 30 minutes before I cut into it because we want this crust and the crumb on the inside to continue to develop. So as tempting as it is, we're going to wait 30 minutes. But yes, folks, you know it. We're going to do the taste test. I'll cut into it. I'll show you what the inside looks like. And we'll come back in about 30 minutes. But look at this beautiful bread. Yes, it's time. It's time. I've been patiently waiting. Again, take a look at this beautiful loaf of sun-dried tomato bread. And look at the rise we got on it. Isn't that nice? Beautiful. Okay, let's give this a cut. It's still nice and warm. It's been a half an hour. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it right up the middle. Oh, and I could tell the crust is just absolutely perfect. Maybe one more slice. There we go. Still steaming. It's still steaming. Take a look at this. Here you go, folks. Beautiful. And you could probably see the steam coming from it, but you can see the nice pieces of sun-dried tomato in there. And the crumb is not white. It's nice and red. It's got a reddish orange kind of tinge to it, which is thanks to the beautiful sun-dried tomato. The amount of flavor that we've added to this, along with our sourdough starter, this is going to be amazing. So I'm going to grab a quick photo of this because that's amazing. And then it's the taste test. Give me a plate. Yes. And this is how I like to slice my bread too. I cut it in half and then I'll slice it this way for the dinner table, and I'll leave the other half whole in case we don't get to it. It keeps much better. But having said that, this bread won't last long. Okay, I'm going to cut the end off. Oh, that, folks, this is going to be really, really, really tasty. A little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Whoa, that came out relatively quickly. Let's just rub that right on. More is always better. Flavor galore. Sourdough bread, sun-dried tomato flavor infused throughout the whole bread because it actually fermented all together. What a fantastic way to make such a beautiful artisan style bread. It's delicious. The crust is perfect. The crumb is perfect. And like I say, infused with flavor. You saw how easy that was to make. Yes, folks, you can make this loaf of bread. It is that easy. Very little effort, but what a great end result. I'll tell you that. You're looking at a sourdough, artisan style, rustic, sun-dried tomato bread. It doesn't get much better than that. Spend some time in the kitchen. You'll have yourself a good time. Make yourself a beautiful loaf of bread. Enjoy it by yourself, with friends, with family. Just do it. Wherever you are, folks, I really do hope you give this recipe a try. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, buon appetito. Beautiful flavor.